Today we're going to do one of the most effective exercises in improving your listening comprehension, which in turn improves your pronunciation, your accent, and how natural you sound when speaking American English. We're going to do a Ben Franklin exercise. I've been doing these exercises for years with my students, and I've seen that they are truly one of the best ways to understand how Americans really speak. So what we do is we take a bit of speech that a real American is speaking, and then we do a full analysis of the pronunciation. We'll look at the stress, we'll look at reductions, we'll look at things like a flap T, so that you understand everything that's being said and how to say that yourself. First, the speech that we're going to analyze. I'm going to talk about a fall baking weekend that I had with my friend Laura. This year, the fall baking weekend was a little bit different because now we have not just one kid, not just two kids, but three kids, including a newborn. So everything was a little chaotic when my friend Laura and her family came to visit. We made a caramel custard tart. It was delicious, but most importantly, we had an amazing weekend spending time together with our families. And now the analysis. This year, the fall baking weekend was a little bit different because that was a long thought group. I didn't take a breath or make a longer break until after the word because, but I did put a little bit of a lift, was a little bit different. This year, the fall baking weekend was a little bit different because this year, the fall baking weekend was a little bit different because this year, the fall baking weekend was a little bit different because, and by just putting a little lift, a little tiny break in the voice, it brings those out more, those words. It makes them more important. Also, was, I made that pretty long. I drew out the vowel a little bit. Often the word was is reduced and then it's pronounced was said very quickly. But I didn't do that. I fully pronounced it, did not reduce to the schwa, but I left the as in butter vowel. Was a little bit different. 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 And we have flap T in the word little. That's always pronounced that way, little, with the tongue flapping against the roof of the mouth. And then we have a stop T in bit, a little bit different, and also indifferent. The stop T in bit followed by a consonant. Same with the stop T in different. The NT ending, whether it's in a word like this or where it's an apostrophe T, is often pronounced as a nasally stop T. So we have two stops here, a little bit different, with that nasal end sound coming to an abrupt stop in the nose. A little bit different, a little bit different, a little bit different. Notice how I'm pronouncing the word different. This is a word that can be pronounced with three syllables, different, or two, different. And I pronounce it as two. It's more common. It's easier. So go ahead and just think of it as two syllables with the first syllable being stressed. Different, rent. And notice this is a schwa, not much of a vowel. And the second syllable said very quickly, rent. Different, 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 different. What about the top line? All of those words said really quickly, but there are important words there. The fall baking weekend. I'm talking about an event. Why did I say these words so quickly? Listen to how quickly I said them. This year, the fall baking weekend. This year, the fall baking weekend. This year, the fall baking weekend. Well, I had already introduced the idea that I was going to be talking about the fall baking weekend. So that's why this second time, I said it more quickly. I'm not introducing the idea. I've already told you that's what I'm going to talk about. So what was the most important part about this sentence to me was describing it, not introducing it. You already know I'm talking about the fall baking weekend. That's why that ended up sounding faster. That's why it was said more quickly. And the information about it, that it was a little bit different, is what was more stressed and more clear. This year the fall baking weekend This year the fall baking weekend was a little bit different because so then I say because it's not reduced. Often this word is reduced, but I'm saying it more clearly here. Bi, unstressed syllable with the I as in sit vowel, then a stressed syllable as in butter vowel. Because now we have not just one kid. Now we have, and I put a break, not just one kid. Now we have not just one kid. Now we have not just one kid. Now we have not just one kid. And I really stress the first word of each of those thought groups. Now we have not just one kid. 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 And again, a stop T in not, because the next sound is a consonant. Not just one kid. What do you notice about the T in the word just? Not just one kid. Not just one kid. Not just one kid. It's actually dropped. I don't say it at all. Why? We often drop the T when it comes between two consonants. So when the ST cluster is followed by a word that begins with a consonant, we drop it. Now you're thinking, hold on, the letter O, that's a vowel. You're right. But the word one is pronounced beginning with a W consonant. W, n. So whenever we're talking about rules with the T, we're talking about sounds, not letters. The sound T here comes between two consonant sounds, the consonant sound S and the consonant sound W. Now, even though this word is spelled with the letter O at the beginning, that doesn't matter. It still comes between two consonant sounds and it's dropped. Just one. Just one. T is dropped and the two words are linked together. Just one. Just one. Just one kid. Kid, this is a more casual way to say child. Very common in English. Just one kid. Just one kid. Just one kid. Not just two kids. Not just two kids. Again, stressing not. And again, a stop T. Not just two kids. Now here we have the T followed by a T. Okay, those just combine just to make one true T. Because a T beginning a stressed word like two will always be a true T. Not just two kids. So the S links right into that true T. Not just two kids. Not just two kids. Not just two kids, but three kids. But three kids. So I'm stressing three. So I stressed not, and then three. I'm saying, first of all, what we didn't have. One kid, two kids, that would have been simple. But we had three kids in the house. Three. This is a tricky word, isn't it? We have the unvoiced TH, and then the R consonant, thir. So the tongue tip must come through the teeth for that unvoiced TH. Then the tip pulls back, so it's not touching anything inside the mouth to make the R. Thir, three. But three kids, including a newborn. Including a newborn. So include, stress on the middle syllable there. A schwa, just linking these two words together, including a newborn. In the word newborn, the first syllable is stressed, but I make my pitch go up at the end to show that I'm not done talking about this. What about the fact that we had three kids? Well, I'm about to tell you that. Including a newborn. Newborn. So the intonation goes up. Well, what about that? Well, that means everything was a little chaotic. A newborn. So everything was a little chaotic. Chaotic. First syllable stress there. That's the most stressed word there. And we have a flap T. Did I say first syllable? Definitely meant middle syllable. Chaotic. chaotic, with a flap T beginning the third syllable. Notice the CH here, not pronounced ch, also not pronounced sh, but instead pronounced k, like the K sound. Chaotic, chaotic, chaotic. So everything was a little chaotic. So everything was a little chaotic. So everything was a little chaotic. A little chaotic. Again, the word little, T's there pronounced as a flap T. A little, a little, a little. And the letter A, the word just a quick schwa, a little, a little. A little chaotic. A little chaotic. So everything was a little chaotic. Everything was a little chaotic. Ev, first syllable stress, and also the word was reduces here. On the first screen, we talked about how it wasn't reduced. It was pronounced was, but here it's pronounced was, said very quickly, linking into the next word, was it. Everything was a little chaotic. Ev and Ka are the most stressed syllables there. The other syllables said pretty quickly. Maybe a reduction like in was it. So everything was a little chaotic. So everything was a little chaotic. So everything was a little chaotic when my friend. Okay, the word when. Definitely not pronounced we with a full as in bed vowel. That's really sounding reduced. When. I would write that with the W, the schwa, and the N. Also notice WH. That can be pronounced with a little escape of air, when. But I did not do that, and I don't do it, really. I find it a little old-fashioned. My mom does it. She's not old-fashioned, but she maybe talks that way sometimes. But most people, more modern, is just to do a clean W sound with no escape of air beforehand. When my friend Laura. So I then say her name. I put a tiny lift between the words friend and Laura. And if I hadn't, I probably would have dropped the D. My friend Laura. Because it's very common to drop the D between two consonants, just like we did with the T in the words just one. Friend Laura would very often be pronounced friend Laura with no D. But I put a little tiny break before her name to emphasize it, and so I do give a light D at the end of the word friend. When my friend Laura and her family came to visit. Laura and her family came to visit. So what are the most stressed words there? The clearest, the longest. Laura and her family came to visit. 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 Two nouns and a verb. What about the other words? What about and her? They get reduced. Let's listen. Laura and her family. 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 Inner. The word and reduced to just schwa n. The word her reduced to just schwa r. So I dropped the H, I dropped the D, I reduced the vowels. Inner. Laura and her family. Inner. Said very quickly, very unclear, yet this is the pronunciation that Americans use, and that is clear to Americans because it makes the stressed words, the more important words, stick out of the phrase more and be more clear. It's like giving the listener the most important words. So the contrast that we like in American English is only possible when we make some words less clear, like and her. These are function words. Laura and her family. Laura and her family. Laura and her family. Laura and her family. Notice the word family. This could be a three-syllable word. Family. Maybe that's how you say it. Maybe that's how you learned it. But I recommend going with a two-syllable pronunciation instead. Family. So the first syllable is stressed and the middle syllable is dropped. Family. family. That's more common and it's easier, so try it out. Family, family, family came to visit. Came to visit, came to visit. So came, another verb, but less important than visit. It's not as clear, it's not as stressed, and the word to, reduced. We turn that into more of a flap sound. Came to visit, came to visit, came to visit. Where after the M, the tongue just bounces quickly against the roof of the mouth, and the vowel is reduced. Came to, da, da, da. You could also think of this as a D if that works better for you, a very light, quick D. Came to visit. And a stop T, because this T comes at the end of a thought group. Came to visit, came to visit, came to visit. We made a caramel custard tart. We made a caramel custard tart. We made. I make the D sound here. I don't release it. That would sound like this. Made. But it's more of a stop. Made. Different from a stop T, where I just stop the air. Here I am actually making a little D sound with a vibration of the vocal cords. Made. That makes the D. I don't need D, the release. Made. A caramel custard tart. The letter A, the word a quick schwa, a caramel custard tart. Caramel custard tart. Each one of those words stressed, but the stress is less clear as we go on because the general trend in sentences is the energy is less in the voice towards the end. We made a caramel custard tart. We made a caramel custard tart. We made a caramel custard tart. Caramel custard tart. So do you hear how the pitch is lower for each one of those? Cuss tart. Caramel custard tart. That's what feels natural in American English. The pitch goes down and the volume goes down towards the end of a sentence. Caramel custard tart. Caramel custard tart. Caramel custard tart. Did you hear I made a clear true T here at the end? Tart. I wouldn't have had to. I could have said tart, and made an abrupt stop there. But we do often make a clearer true T sound in a cluster, like the RT cluster. Tart. It was delicious, but... It was delicious. I'm noticing something interesting here. I drop the T in it. I don't even make a stop T. That would be it was, it. But instead, I just make an I vowel. It was delicious. There's no stop at all. And why is that? It's because it's a common two-word sequence. It was. It's not stressed. It doesn't have to be that clear. It was delicious. The important word there is the adjective. It was delicious. And here my pitch goes up at the end. Delicious. Because again, I want to signify I'm not done talking. I'm going to talk more about how that weekend was. It was delicious. The word was here reduced. Was. How quickly can you say that word? Was. It was. This little two-word phrase, not very clear on its own, but in the context of the whole sentence, it was delicious. It's very clear to native speakers. It was delicious, but most importantly, the word but, its own little thought group, stop T, but most importantly, okay, ST cluster. Now you learned that we will very often drop that T if it's followed by a consonant. Here, it's followed by a vowel, the I as in sit vowel. But you know what? I still drop it. Most importantly. Why? It doesn't really follow a rule. I'm doing it because it's so clear what I'm saying, most importantly, that I don't feel like I need the T sound. Of course, I didn't think this. But as I said it, this is what came out. Most importantly, just connecting the S sound into the next word. Most importantly, most importantly, most importantly, importantly, stress syllable there, the second syllable, stop T, and stop T, Lee. So the two stop T's, we have a sequence here, T, schwa, N. And whenever we have that sequence of T, schwa, N, it's a stop T. That's the most common pronunciation. Importantly, mountain, sentence. All of these words have the T, schwa, N. Kitten, mitten. And we make that a stop sound followed by N. Mitten, importantly. This one's interesting because it's two stop T's in a row. Importantly. So you put your tongue up into position for the T. You stop the air. Then you make an N sound. Stop the air. And make the ly ending. Importantly. Importantly. Importantly, we had an amazing weekend spending time together with our families. We had an amazing weekend, really stressing the stressed syllable there. It was amazing. With a word like this that has some drama and some intensity in it, we tend to really stress them. We had an amazing weekend spending time together, also stressed, with our families, also stressed. And notice families, just like family. I'm dropping the middle syllable. Families. So first syllable stress, families. We had an amazing weekend spending time together with our families. We had an amazing weekend spending time together with our families. We had an amazing weekend spending time together with our families. Let's look at the other words. We have a couple unstressed words here in a row. We hadn't. Lower in pitch, flatter in pitch, a little less clear. The word an, that's just schwa n said really quickly. We hadn't. D links into the schwa and n links into the next vowel. Had an amazing. We had an amazing. By linking the ending consonant of a word into the beginning vowel of the next word, that helps us link things together smoothly. It helps everything sound nice and smooth. And in American English, we really like smooth speech. We had an amazing weekend spending time together. We had an amazing weekend, very, very light D there, spending time together. Crisp true T here, time. That's because it's a stressed word and it begins with a T. So that's going to be a true T. We had an amazing weekend spending time together. We had an amazing weekend spending time together. We had an amazing weekend spending time together. Time together. And I did also a true T to begin together. Time together. Together. Notice it looks like the word to. We don't pronounce it to, we pronounce it t. Together. Stress on the second syllable. Together. Time together. Time together with our families. With our families. With and are, a little bit less important, said a little bit more quickly, with our families. The word our sounds like the word are, with our. And you can think of it as being or even you can make it the schwa r with our families when you're pronouncing it extra quickly. With our families. Let's listen to the whole speech one more time. This year, the fall baking weekend was a little bit different because now we have not just one kid, not just two kids, but 3 kids, including a newborn. So everything was a little chaotic when my friend Laura and her family came to visit. We made a caramel custard tart. It was delicious, but most importantly, we had an amazing weekend spending time together with our families. Now, as a bonus, I'm going to put in a video that I made last year with Laura at our fall baking weekend, and you're going to learn some interesting things about American English pronunciation, phrasal verbs, idioms, and more. In this American English pronunciation video, we're going to study real-life English while I make an apple pie with my dear friend Laura. Okay, time to make the caramel sauce. Caramel.
Caramel.
Caramel. They're all okay. They're all okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This tasty word can be pronounced 3 ways. Caramel, caramel, or caramel. Each pronunciation is accepted, and you will find all 3 of these pronunciations listed in the dictionary. Here's what it says. Whisk in a medium saucepan. Now it doesn't say over medium-low heat.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll do that.
Okay. Notice how we respond to each other, K and okay. These are both common variants of the word okay. This word is used a lot in conversational English. It can be used to say, I understand, I'm listening, which is how Laura and I both use it here. Over medium-low heat.
Okay.
Okay. I've read a part of the recipe and we're both saying, I understand that. Then she offers to take care of it and I say, okay, again, here meaning I understand.
I'll do that.
Okay. We also use it for yes. Will you add the sugar? Okay. Over medium-low heat.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll do that.
Okay. Here's what it says. So we do this until the sugar is dissolved. Then we add the butter, which I put out on the counter.
Is it a whole stick?
Mm-hmm.
Just light on the butter.
Yeah, it's not, this pie is not very high in calories. So that's nice.
False.
False. I've said something here that's not true. It's false. I'm not being serious. The pie is very high in calories. Listen to the different ways you can say, I'm not being serious. False. I'm joking. I'm being facetious. I'm just kidding. How else could you say that?
She's joking. Did you already say that?
I did say that. I'm pulling your
leg. You're
leg.
pulling my leg.
Yeah, I'm pulling your leg. It's a high in calorie pie. Okay, so as
just
soon as
joshing
this dissolves,
me.
I'm just joshing you. Where does that one
That's
come
an
from?
old-timey one. Don't use that one.
I'm just joshing. You can say that. I'm just joshing. Dang. Don't get upset. I'm just joshing. I'm joking. I'm being facetious. I'm just kidding. I'm pulling your leg. I'm just joshing. All of these things mean what I'm saying should not be taken seriously or literally. I could have also said, I'm just playing, or I'm playing. The word just in all of these phrases can be used, but doesn't have to be used. A note on the pronunciation of the word just. If it's followed by a word that begins with a consonant, the T will usually be dropped. For example, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Straight from the S sound into the K with no T. False. I'm joking. I'm being facetious. I'm just kidding. I'm pulling your leg. It's a high in calorie pie. I'm just joshing you. Where does that one come from?
That's an old-timey one. Don't use that one.
You want to grab the stick of butter?
Yeah.
So every fall for what? How many years have we been doing this?
Well, we've lived here since 2010, and it probably started.
Here? No way. Here? No way. What does that mean? That means I can't believe what she's saying. I don't think it's true. And it turns out I misunderstood. I thought she meant she had been living in that house since 2010, but she meant she'd been living in the town since then.
Well, we've lived here since 2010, and it probably started.
Here? Oh,
no,
Northampton.
in Northampton.
Yeah.
6 or 7 years.
Yeah. I said 7-ish years, while Laura said 6 or 7 years. Ish is something you might hear put at the end of a word to show approximation.
6 or 7 years.
Yeah. Every fall I come up to Laura's house and we have a fall baking weekend. And actually, we've made lots of videos from the fall baking weekend, so I will put a link to that playlist in the comments below. Also, right here, just click the I. They're really fun.
They are. At least we have fun.
We have fun. We keep on working on the sauce for that pie, adding butter, and then adding cream. Okay, are you ready to whisk? I think I'm supposed to add this really slowly.
Am I supposed to keep whisking or stirring?
There, we're both unsure of what the recipe says. We both use the phrase supposed to. We both reduced this phrase to supposed to. We reduced it from 3 syllables to 2. This is really common. The S and T can either be pronounced st, supposed to, or ZD, supposed to. I think I'm supposed to add this really slowly.
Am I supposed to keep whisking or stirring?
All right. Here we go.
Whoa!
Whoa, steam bomb the camera. Okay, so now we're slicing the apples. We're using a machine to make it a little easier. Are you going to put them in here then?
Yeah.
Okay. There are always lots of reductions in American English. Let's look at the ones I just used. We are contracts to we're and is often pronounced were in conversation. It's really fast and it sounds just like this word were. I use that contraction twice here. So now we're slicing the apples. We're using a machine to make it a little easier. Are you going to put them in here then?
Yeah.
Okay. You going to put them in here then? Some more reductions. The word are at the beginning was dropped. We need that word to be grammatically correct, but it is sometimes dropped in spoken English. Going to became gonna, and the TH was dropped in them. Put them becomes put 'em, put 'em. No TH and a flap T to connect the two words. Put 'em, put 'em. Are you going to put them in here then?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, watch this. Do its magic. Love it. They come out the bottom totally thin sliced. Let's put the lemon juice in. Let's put the lemon juice in. The word let's is really unclear. It's very common to drop the beginning and basically just make the TS sound. Let's put the lemon juice in. Tss, tss. That's, it's, and what's can also make this reduction, where we're just putting the TS sound in front of the next word. See this video for further examples and explanation. Let's put the lemon juice in. And the baby's up. Okay, let me go get him. Let me go get him. A couple reductions here. Let me becomes lemmy. And the H is dropped in him. Dropping the H in this word is a really common reduction. When we do this, it sounds just like when we dropped the TH in them. Get him becomes get 'em. Just like put them was put 'em. The flap T links the words, and the reduction of them and him are the exact same sounds, schwa and m. Get 'em. Put 'em. Okay, let me go get 'em. You look right there. Say hi, I just had a nice nap. You say, hey everybody. You want to try that? Hey everybody. You want to try? No. Okay.
Can I go ahead and put the apples in there?
Yeah, dump them in. Dump them in. Them is reduced again. Dump 'em. Dump 'em. Yeah, dump them in. I'm going to take you down to Daddy. I'm going to take you down to Daddy. I'm going to got reduced. With our most common words and phrases, we tend to do the most dramatic reductions. Munna. There's almost an idea of I in front of it, but not really. Munna, munna, munna. I'm going to take you down to Daddy. I made a video where I go over this reduction and more examples. Click here or in the description below to see that video. I'm going to take you down to Daddy. All right.
All of them?
Let me read ahead. Yeah, all of them.
Okay.
I love how when you start paying attention to a particular reduction, you constantly hear it. Did you catch the reductions of them here? We're talking about the apple slices.
All of them?
Let me read ahead. Yeah, all of them.
Okay.
All of them. Nice them reduction, Laura.
All of them?
Mm-hmm. I like it, linking with the V. Okay. Then we mixed the apples in with the other dry ingredients. We packed the apples into our pie shell and drizzled on the caramel sauce, which got too thick as it cooled. We overcooked it. And finally, we make the lattice top for the pie. I had some problems and I kept messing it up. I put it, what is wrong with me? I am like really screwing up. Really screwing up. Screw up is a phrasal verb which means to do something the wrong way or to do a bad job with something. I screwed up the pie crust. You could also say mess up. I messed up the pie crust. Really screwing up. I have to wipe that off. Oh darn. I have to eat that caramel sauce. This is weird, Laura. Last time I made this, it seeped in much more. So because look, when I'm doing the lattice now, when I pull it up, it's like bringing up all this
Right,
goo.
it's thicker.
It's weird. I gotta say, right now, I'm feeling embarrassed about how this is turning out. Turn out, another phrasal verb. As I'm using it here, it means how something develops or ends. I'm not happy with how it's going. I'm embarrassed with the end result of my pie. I gotta say, right now, I'm feeling embarrassed about how this is turning out. I finished making the top and we put it in the oven. And the final scene, of course, needs to be trying the pie. It's out of the oven, looking good. Laura, how are you feeling about it?
I'm feeling great.
Oh, also we made a pumpkin pie.
I'm also feeling great about that.
From scratch with a pumpkin. We made whipped cream. Big deal. And Dana made chocolate dipped macaroons. Macaroon or macaron? To clarify, this is a macaroon, and this is a macaron, which is also pronounced macaron. I don't know. I'll look it up and I'll let everyone know. Okay, let's cut this pie. Who wants a little bit of apple? If you'd like to recreate this pie, it really is amazingly delicious. Please see the link in the video description below. It's from my favorite pie book, the 4 and 20 Blackbirds book. I'm going to have a caramelly taste. It turned out well. That's it, guys. And thanks so much for using Rachel's English. To see all of my Ben Franklin exercises, click here to see the playlist. That's it, and thanks so much for using Rachel's English. If you want to see my absolute latest video, click here. If you're new to the channel, check out this Where to Start playlist. Click here to subscribe. I make new videos on American English every Tuesday. To be sure we can keep in touch, click here to sign up for my newsletter. You'll get free lessons in your inbox every week.